Hello and welcome to the Rift Between Worlds for the level 22 episode of Purple is the Chosen One. We're sitting here next to the hard-working gatekeepers here. It's a little bit blustery by the looks of it here. We've got the portal there to the demon web up there, which is our destiny for this particular quest. Hopefully we'll be able to get it in before the site goes down for I think some kind of maintenance to do with the new Vecna expansion. So there's something wrong with the NPCs or something. Maybe they're giving an infinite amount of things that they shouldn't be. I don't know. I haven't touched the expansion as yet. I haven't even got it, to be honest. I've not had too long to play, so the few quests a day I do are kind of focused around this, because this to me is new content, discovering a new class and trying my best to at least not suck totally. What do we have to share this time around? Yes, there was plenty of constructive feedback from last time, not least of which that the favoured soul gets wings anyway. Did one of you say at level 17 or something? Yes, favoured soul class 17, it says there, look. But apparently many people, clearly me included, miss this because it's not, doesn't sort of stand out. It doesn't say you've acquired this feat or whatever. So it would be nice if that could really stand out, and because I'm sure many would like to use it. I've slotted it into our middle mouse button thing, and the most useful use so far has been to keep us out of trouble from nasty boss opponents like the Spinner of Shadows, who really sticks to you like glue when you're trying to do that quest solo, and the what's the big boss at the end of the Jungle of Khyber, the Marut, isn't it? Now that thing as well can really put out some damage, and then I suddenly realised, why don't you use your wings to keep your distance? So I started doing that and it went much better. So there's that. We've reorganised the epic destinies on the back of some advice received, so the Exalted Angel's gone, because aside from a bit of spell power, that wasn't giving us too much anyway. We've gone instead for Sentinel for some hit points, and this one cast energy resistance, so it's better than the individual resistances because it's giving 35 on each, and it's just one cast here at the start, and then you're not having to sit through 15 minutes of me doing each individual buff, so that's good. I probably won't go as far as putting all these points in here, but who knows, maybe I will, because renewal is a very nice, quick, cheap heal for in between, topping up in between fights and saving a bit of mana, and the fortification, which we were lacking, 50% in there and +1 on all saves. At the moment I can afford to throw these extra points in here because there's nothing else really that's too compelling. This is all going to change at 23 when we get the chance for the second cause and the third tier enhancements. So at the moment we're just in the Sentinel for the energy thing, the fortification, the quick heal, and the draconic dragon breath, epic attack, and the mantle. I know it's ridiculous, a favoured soul having to well, we didn't have to. I just spent 1 point in there for convenience. It's 5 spell points, and it's a nice little heal on a very short cooldown. So I just use it in between fights for topping up, as I'm in that tree anyway. Otherwise it would have been total overkill. I've just realised we've got an extra point to spend there. Let's... what shall we have? Reflex? Saves? Okay, so we got slaughtered twice in the Spinner quest. Trying to do that alone is rough. I mean, that's one quest that definitely reminds me it would be a cinch with a group, but alone with the spinner all over you when you're trying to collect the crystal things to light the torches. That's a bit of a nightmare. I'm guessing ideally you want a stronger person sitting in the middle with the spinner, while your teammates just run around unmolested, collecting the crystals and completing the quest in really quick time. Now, that did not happen with me, I'm sad to say. What else do we have to share? Blade barrier is still decent, especially if you've got like a narrow passageway that they all have to come up to get to you. You can drop a couple there and then just tempt them out with some long range stuff like the searing light, and then just make them all come through the double blade barrier, so by the time they get to you they're ready for dropping. But sort of putting one in the middle of a crowded room and running around it, they tend to do more damage to me than I can inflict to them, so that's less of a decent strategy now. What else have we got here? I've reintroduced the implosion because one of you said I might as well because I'm not using the mass heal, and that's quite right. I haven't grouped so far in Epic, so that's one reason. And the time it takes to cast is just prohibitively long in my opinion, so that's not great either. It would be okay if you were, at the back and just sort of healing, from distance, not in the middle of the battle, but in the heat of a battle, watching that thing wind up would be watching people die, I think, so less than ideal for our situation. I did test again the implosion. I tested it in one of the Kundarak. Well, actually, I've had it since we did the 4 Kundarak quests, and we did pretty well in those actually. The beholders were pretty well catered for by the searing light things, the extra distance they have. They were hitting quite hard, and even the end boss were doing his anti-magic thing. We have enough spell-like abilities here. We have the searing light one, we have the ash from our tiefling tree, and we've got the dragon breath here. So the anti-magic thing, if I understand it rightly, a bit like Quell from the what are those things that cast those? Are they actually called Quell? Or is it Weeps or something? I can't remember. There's one at the end of the Armies of Death quest anyway. But the spell-like abilities seem to be above and beyond all this kind of magic shutdown stuff. So we managed to really hammer that boss beholder and do well there. The bit we struggled on, as always, was the end boss damage against the Marut, where the wings, the newly acquired wings, once I realised we had them and decided to use them to avoid face tanking the thing, we did alright. It took some time, but between the light spell-like ability just chipping away, and then I would hit with the ash and the dragon. Did I use the dragon breath against him? I think I did, even though he gets healed by it. I think I still did the dragon breath, and the comet thing I use as well. I've taken off the comet fall spell-like ability and got this as a spell instead. My plan with this line, I've reintroduced the Holy Smite. My plan with this line is to try and do in the fullness of time, a bit like I do with my druid, prepare a group of opponents from extreme distance if I can. So stun, knockdown, blind, and if all those can go off, I've got these two heightened to try and give extra chance for the effects to take hold, which does mean they cost quite a lot of spell points, but if all those three can be sent against a group of targets, usually you just have to come in and mop up with the colour spray and the dragon breath and it's all gone without any threat to us, which is nice. Then I've got the big things there. I must remember to keep the implosion is close range and aura, but to see the things just disappearing next to you, it's quite a spectacular purple effect for those of you who haven't seen it. There are instances. I know it says it's got to be corporeal enemy. Maybe I'm expecting it to hurt things that it just can't do. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it worked against the Warforged in the Haywire's Foundry. I'm almost certain it did. We used it to good effect in there. So that's one I've got to keep in mind. And the knockdown on this bombard. One of you's quite rightly said I only seem to use these two big spells, the Divine Wrath and the Celestial Bombard, when it's like an oh shit moment. Well, they are kind of oh shit spells, aren't they? Because they're quite expensive. But I need to be making more use, I think. The standard thing, as I've mentioned in the past, for close range would be the Colour Spray, Dragon Breath... Colour Spray, Ash, Dragon Breath and Firestorm. And hopefully nothing's moving after that. Need to remember to keep casting the Wellspring of Power. Big advantage there, and it's on a reasonably short cooldown with the 3 minutes. I know 3 minutes is ages if you were talking about a spell, but for something useful like that, which will end up lasting for a minute, once we can enhance it with the tier 4 of the Draconic tree, we really need to be getting the best use from that, and at the moment I'm not. Yeah, I think I've talked enough about the spinner annihilating me. The problem with the Spinner of Shadows, apart from the fact she does pretty heavy damage on elite or higher, she casts what's the magic removal thing, dispel magic or whatever her equivalent is, and then level drain. So although I have I could that would be that's a mistake, isn't it? I should have had a spell for Greater Resto. Trying to mess about with the scroll while she's hammering away at me is not a good idea. So that's one instance where a Greater Resto spell would have been very useful, and I don't in fact have any kind of Resto as a spell, so that's unfortunate. Otherwise I think I've mentioned everything. I wanted to have a go at this one because I don't think it's one I've shown too often, if at all, thus far. It's the last one in the Lords of Dust chain. I'm supposed to have Featherfall on my gear here. I suspect at the moment it's not working for some reason. I think in the past when I've put it on and off, it's rectified itself. I think that's better, yeah. All these little quirks that you learn, and I still don't know half of them, I'm sure. Right. Disclaimer. First proper quest of the day. I cheesed the spinner on a low level because I just didn't want to be dying in there again. I know some of you have a quick way to go round this at the start, don't you, rather than waiting. I think I'll just wait for the animation because I don't trust myself not to fall down. If you fall off at any stage off the edge of one of these things, I think you just appear back at the start. There isn't a death thing as such.
Ye are a stranger here, I'm thinking. What brings ye into the demon web? Ye must have come through the rift that she
So what else have we done to this point? We've done this. Obviously, this is the last of the Lords of Dust chain. I've done all the others. We did the 4 in Kundarak. We've done the Borderlands and some of Denith. In fact, all of Denith, apart from the the thing with the catapults, the storm the beaches. So we've got a nice little share of tokens along the way. What level is the red fens? I think that's a 21 as well, isn't it? I could have a go at that.
She and her sister, the spinner of shadows,
As mentioned to Abba in one of the comments, I never do slayers for leveling in Epic. I suppose mostly because I never really have a group. I don't use potions and things anyway, which you kind of need to optimize the slayer thing. And no, I don't do that. So I tend to like to do one of every quest that's available to me, and that tends to be enough to get me to the cap. So yeah, we could do the red fens next. I haven't yet started the Evening Star 1 chain this time around either. I always go for the 5 Evening Star sagas. So the Evening Star 1 chain will be obligatory to run at some point with that in mind. We could just do the buffs while you are talking, couldn't we? Okay.
Somewhere in this chaotic maze lies the path to the place Elminster called Evening Star.
Now, can we activate those from distance? We might be able to. Oh, not like that. Alright, let's try. Did it work? I think that was a pretty pathetic fail on my part to try and cheese the game a bit. Serve me right. Well, that was a bit better. That was all the debuffs together. So in times of trouble, Soundburst, Comet Fall, Holy Smite. Get everything stunned on the floor and blinded, and then try and mop up the pieces. I don't think that's a bad strategy. And then we can follow up if needs be with our nice dragon breath. I want to at least try with the implosion thing at some stage as well, just to show any of you who haven't seen it what it can do, because I was quite impressed when it works. It's quite something. See, the blades are still quite effective. I have maximised that. I didn't cast anything else, that was just the blade barrier. So not terrible. Oh, will you come out of there? So in this quest, if you're ever in doubt about the pathing, try and look for a torch or a lighted area, like this here for instance, or this sort of pathway. Oh, this is turning into a bit of a mess, isn't it? Horrible mess. Let's try implosion. I pressed the wrong key. I pressed Holy Smite instead, which is where implosion was before this quest started. I should really stop tinkering like that. Am I going to change them back? Let's change them back. God. This is a proper warts and all playthrough, isn't it? No, no highly technical gameplay here.
Only the strong survive in the demon web, and these creatures were not strong.
And now I've pressed all the wrong keys again, thinking my sound burst and that was still down there. Oh, that's just dreadful. I would have taken 1 or 2 quests to familiarise myself with the keys, but I think the site's going down in the not too distant future, and I wanted to take the opportunity to try and get the level 22 episode out if I could.
In the distance, the spinner of shadows scuttles along the demon web, intent on some errand of her own.
Right. Now that was the right keys, yes. We don't need the shrine, do we? No. I was talking to the bear yesterday, and she was talking about the frustration of switching characters and not knowing, you know, what abilities or what keys to use, and I can totally relate, having gone from the, you know, the last life we did, the Eldritch Knight, the sort of the big strike through playstyle, mass hold, and a couple of AoE spells, relatively simple, to this where we've got quite a few more really good things at our disposal, but I'm just not using the right things when they need to be used, and it's creating quite some frustration. Does implosion work on the air? There you go, look, happy days. Where are we go? We're going towards the light, so over there. Yeah, you're just kind of thinking, well, I've got all these great tools to be bringing to the table, and I'm failing so badly. And it's just because I'm not sort of comfortable with where all the things are, and it keeps getting swapped around. So that does cause a little bit of frustration, and a sort of a stop-start feel to the questing while you work out where you're at. I'm contrasting that with my cold druid that it's been on the same keys for a long time, and I've played it through many quests and many end game contents. I know exactly what I'm doing with that. It's almost sort of automated, you know, given the different situations. Whereas this one, it's almost like opponent pops up. Right, well, is it one or is it a group? Where where should I look for the key to deal with it? Yeah.
Loth vanishes with a piercing burst of magical energy. For an instant, you stand transfixed by the strange scene. Then a sudden onslaught of the Spider Queen's servants snaps you back to the
try this.
situation at hand.
That worked pretty well, except it was the wrong group of keys. Oh dear. How much health has he got? My God, we're going to have to try and contain that bugger. What else can I do? This is the big weakness, I suppose, of most, if not all, casters. Although you do get the ruin and greater ruin, this is just terribly bad. Although the crowd control's holding up nicely. I don't suppose implode would work against him, would it? No, thought not. Okay. Yeah, this is just horrendously bad. Could be here for hours. I don't think that's so much a question of wrong keys as just didn't have the big hitting that we needed there. Now should we use the... yeah, let's use it while it's on offer. Or shall I just use the ring? We'll go ahead and use it.
A nice quiet moment for me to work on the story.
So for those of you who've not seen this quest, that's like half of the battle done. We've got another half to come now in another section.
Ahead lies a glimmering magical portal. You have no way of knowing what strange new world it leads to, but at least it will take
I think that's my biggest source of disappointment with this life. Nothing to do with the build. It's I think we've all seen it's more than capable of handling itself. It's me that's not capable of handling it. Now I don't particularly have a large amount of things to cycle through here, but it's been enough that I've not been able to master, you know, what needs hitting and when, and make the best use of the resources we've had, and I've found that frustrating.
you find yourself in a
But it's certainly a fun and competitive
if you are to find elements
build and class to try, that's for sure.
vastness of the underworld.
Yes, finally I pressed the right key. I started there with the 3 primers to knock them down and blind them, and then finished off with the light thing. Am I now going the wrong way? I'm looking for a sort of a pathway going up, like a fairly steep upward slope, and that looks like it. Oh, hello. That would suggest you've got some company over there, mister. Oh, crud. A soundburst rescues us. Okay. So we know there's something over here, or we think there is. Or is it that pile of rock thing? Otherwise known as an elemental. Okay, so yes, we can see the scorch ability we've had from the racial tree that we've had since, more or less since the start. It's still holding up pretty well, doing semi-decent damage as it's scaled up with our character level. So especially considering it's a almost free thing, we might as well use it. And it's like a primer for our dragon breath to allow it to do more damage, or in some cases just 2 damage, the fire immune opponents. Now where to go from here? Are we going this way? No, we need to kill something else by the looks of it. You guys. Can we kill you together? Okay. Right, now this is a good chance to try... Yes, that was a bit better. Not perfect, but a bit better. I'll take at this moment in time, I will happily take a bit better. I have a sickening feeling there's another big swarm of spiders waiting. Yes, let's try the blade barrier. They don't tend to like that, do they? I think Wagon would point out I mistargeted the Celestial, but I got away with it because of its huge AoE. It was the one I meant to cast though, so I'll take a point or two for that. And I suppose you can argue that when you've got something like that at your disposal, why are you messing about casting a piddly little blade barrier? And that is a valid point. Oh, hello. I am not sure I have any longer a dispel thing, so we'll just say bye-bye to that thing.
You have stumbled into a group of heavily armed.
Is there a group down there or just one?
Like the drow you've encountered back on Eberron. And they also don't look pleased to see you.
They're all dying. How awful. I need to get rid of that archer character. Oh, 2 archers. Lots of things. Oh, crud. This is terrible. Try your crowd control. Oh, we're dead. They are hitting pretty hard. Still dying. Oh, that was appalling. Just appalling. And again, we totally have the resources to not let that kind of stuff happen. That was just really, really poor on my part. So, apologies for that. What happens if you get in front of this crew? Do you break the game? Are they waiting for me? Oh, go away.
The magical portal lies ahead. If the scouts are right, it will take you closer to the surface. The drow patrol you saw before is taking a break on the other side of the ravine ahead.
I must say I do love these wings.
A strange creature spots you.
It took me a while to sort of remember that I had them, and I still, even now, like in that last situation where we got torn to pieces, a couple of uses of the wings there would have seriously helped us, I think. You know, just to reposition and get away from all the... Now, press the right key this time. Yes, that was the right one. And so was that. Beautiful, beautiful. Messed it up at the end, but yeah, with the undeads, completely immune, I think, to the sound burst and the colour spray, although they might be able to be blinded by that, but certainly not stunned. So I went for the comet fall for the knockdown, and it worked quite nicely. So just for once, I'll give myself a bit of a pat on the back for that. We've got a couple of spidery things here, haven't we? Oh crap, that's appalling.
Once again, you see the now familiar sight of the
I think we've got another load of those spell ward things here.
a small but well-guarded drow
Now,
outpost
can
lies
I...
up ahead.
they're all archers, they're not going to move, are they? Some of them might. I was thinking of putting a sort of a blade barrier trap down here. Or I could try and use the sort of crowd control stuff we've got from distance. Let's demonstrate just how far away we can hit from if we want to. This is my idea for the build going forward. So they hadn't even seen us, and already look at all those up there, they're ripe for the picking now. Unfortunately these aren't. Let's go and try and finish these beggars off. Are you still alive? What the hell? 65 hit points.
These drow fought with
Okay.
military precision unheard of on Sindric. Even
Yeah, I think the best thing you can say about my playstyle here is muddling through.
learn what lies
It's a minor miracle we've got this far. I suppose the moral of the story is more, as in more alternatives, are not always better. You have to use the more. I haven't used Wellspring, for example, once here because I just keep forgetting about it. So let's remember it for this final battle and put it to good use.
A fresh breeze blows down from the leader of the drow turns to confront you.
More fodder for the slave pits. Seize them!
Oh, Red Crown.
The villagers in the cage anxiously point to a large lever near the door.
I should have used Implosion much sooner than I did. Why hasn't the heal taken that poison thing off? Or maybe it's just a poison vulnerability. Get your wings going, boy. We've got so much maneuverability now. Make use of it. Should never be able to touch us. Yet again, the end boss weakness. Throwing loads of spell points in as well. It's just really, really poor, the single target damage. I don't know what, if anything, we can do about that. I think, well, the one solution would be to group with an archer type, because with the resources we have, I mean, the method Searing Light might be the best source of single target damage we have. I suppose technically it's the Dragon Breath, which is an AoE, but that's the best damage that we can put out. Maybe as well you're gonna say it's a level 23 quest and we're 22, so that's hurting us somewhat. I think the only positive I can take there is we didn't die, we reached the end, and maybe we showed some of you a quest that you hadn't seen before. Aside from that, the gameplay was, let's be kind and say, distinctly average. I'm being very kind there. But maybe I showed enough as well to say that there certainly is potential with the build, the crowd control elements there. I just have to remember to press the damn keys. And the damage, certainly damage to groups is there. There's all sorts of nice options, this Implosion, the Bombard, the Divine Wrath, all of which are still being criminally underused. The only ones that are getting used as much as they should be is the Dragon Breath and the Firestorm. Aside from that, you need to wake up and smell the roses, because Searing Light standard spell is not going to carry us, well, basically anywhere.
Isn't this the best part of adventuring?
And no, actually, she's just said that my sentient things just said, isn't this the best part of adventuring? This, to me, is one of the nicest parts of the game. You've just finished all the sort of demon web, dark, dismal stuff, and you come here through this cave at the end of the chain, and suddenly it's like, well, even the loading screen, but look at this now, you've got the bright sunshine. It always seems to be sunny when you come into Evening Star, out of that cave. I just think that's really nice. You've got the water here, the little river, the trees, everything's green and bright. Complete contrast to what you had in the quest just gone. So yeah, I do like that. It's quite immersive. So I think that will be it for the level 22 episode. We managed to get through without the thing being shut down, so that's good. What's in store next? I will definitely. I'll have a go at the Red Fens actually. See how we go on there. That's a 21, isn't it? And we will. I tell you what. While we're here in Evening Star, we may as well start the Evening Star 1 chain, and see how we get on with that too. Once we get to 23, we are we're a million miles away from 23, aren't we? By the looks of it. How much do we need for 23? Is it 19, something like that? That's when the evergreen will come on, and hopefully I can put all the metas on everything, and we'll see the full potential of the build, even in my incompetent hands. I'm really hoping that by the time we get up towards the mid to late epics, I'm getting a bit better with these keys, with what to press and when, and just being able to string together a few nice combinations of spells, and you can sort of see, well, I can sort of see, hey, there's some real potential to a build like this, instead of the hesitant mess that is the gameplay of the moment. Right, moaning over. Thank you very much as always for looking. I will speak to you in the next one. That might be, what could it be, a 22? Maybe one of the ones in Shindolin, so another dark and gloomy one to look forward to. Okay, hope you're having a good day, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.